What if I told you that sitting in your kitchen cupboard right now is a single ingredient that costs less than $1, that scientists are now calling one of the most powerful anti-aging compounds ever discovered? Not a pill, not a prescription, not something you need a doctor to approve, just one simple thing you can stir right into your morning coffee starting today. Researchers at some of the most respected universities in the world have found that this ingredient can actually switch your dormant stem cells back on, the same stem cells that repair your joints, your heart, your brain, and your skin. And that is not all. Studies show it actively cuts off the blood supply that certain dangerous cells use to grow and survive. And if you have been carrying stubborn belly fat that just will not budge no matter what you do, this compound targets the exact type of fat that wraps around your organs and silently drives inflammation, diabetes, and heart disease. So stay with me, because I am about to break down exactly what this ingredient is, how it works inside your body, and how to use it the right way to get the full benefit. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to look at your morning coffee in a completely different way. Conversational, warm and friendly. Welcome back. If you are new here, this channel is all about giving seniors real, science-backed strategies to live longer, feel stronger, and stay sharp well into your 70s, 80s and beyond. And today we are diving into something that genuinely blew my mind when I first started researching it. We talk a lot on this channel about the foods and habits that protect your health as you get older. But today I want to focus on something specific that most people walk right past in the grocery store without giving it a second thought. And yet the science behind this simple, affordable ingredient is nothing short of remarkable. The ingredient I am talking about is cinnamon. Real, true cinnamon. Not the generic stuff that has been sitting in your spice rack for 3 years, but a specific type called Ceylon cinnamon, and the research on what it does inside the aging body is genuinely exciting. So let me walk you through the science, step by step, in a way that actually makes sense. What happens to your body after 60? Here is something most doctors do not spend nearly enough time explaining to their patients. As we age, our body starts to lose its ability to repair itself. And the reason for that comes down to something called stem cell activity. Stem cells are your body's internal repair crew. When you were young, they were incredibly active. You got a scratch and it healed fast. Your joints recovered overnight. Your brain could bounce back from stress. But starting in your 40s and accelerating through your 60s and 70s, those stem cells begin to go quiet. Scientists call this stem cell exhaustion, and it is one of the primary drivers of aging. At the same time, something else is happening. Visceral fat, the kind that accumulates deep in your belly, around your liver, kidneys, and intestines, begins to build up. And unlike regular fat that just sits under the skin, visceral fat is metabolically active. It pumps out inflammatory chemicals around the clock, disrupting your hormones, clogging your arteries, and raising your risk of type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and heart failure. And on top of all that, your body's natural ability to regulate blood sugar starts to decline. Even people who have never been diagnosed with diabetes often develop a condition called insulin resistance as they age, where these cells simply stop responding to insulin the way they should. This keeps blood sugar elevated, which feeds inflammation, which accelerates everything we just talked about. So the question is, can one simple ingredient really address all of this? Let's look at what the research says. What Ceylon cinnamon does inside your body. Ceylon cinnamon, which comes from the inner bark of a tree native to Sri Lanka, has been studied extensively by researchers looking at its impact on aging, metabolic health, and cellular function. And what they have found is genuinely remarkable. First, let us talk about stem cells. A study published in a peer-reviewed journal found that a key compound in cinnamon, called cinnamaldehyde, activates a pathway in the body called W-guanine signaling. This pathway is directly responsible for switching on dormant stem cells. In animal studies, researchers observed that when this pathway was activated, stem cell populations in bone marrow, muscle tissue, and the brain began to reactivate and proliferate. The implication for human aging is profound because it suggests that compounds found naturally in cinnamon could help restore some of the body's lost capacity for self-repair. Second, there is a growing body of research looking at cinnamon's relationship to a process called angiogenesis, which is the formation of new blood vessels. Certain types of abnormal cells depend heavily on the growth of new blood vessels to get the nutrients and oxygen they need to survive and multiply. Cinnamaldehyde has been shown in laboratory studies to inhibit this process by blocking specific proteins that trigger vessel formation. Essentially, it can cut off the supply lines that feed the growth of those unwanted cells. This is an area of active and very exciting research. Third, and perhaps most relevant to many of you watching today, is what cinnamon does to visceral, fat and insulin sensitivity. A landmark review of clinical trials found that daily consumption of cinnamon significantly reduced fasting blood sugar levels, improved insulin sensitivity, and was associated with meaningful reductions in abdominal fat over time. The mechanism involves cinnamon's ability to mimic insulin at the cellular level, helping your cells take up glucose without requiring your pancreas to work overtime. The important difference, Ceylon versus Cassia. Now here is where I need to slow down and make something very clear, because this is the part most people get wrong, and it actually matters for your safety. There are two main types of cinnamon that you will find in stores. The first is called Cassia cinnamon, which is the dark reddish-brown kind sold in most supermarkets. It is cheap, it is widely available, and it smells amazing. But it contains high levels of a compound called coumarin, which in large doses can be toxic to the liver. If you are taking Cassia cinnamon every single day, you could be doing real damage to your liver over time, especially if you are already taking any medications that are processed by the liver. The second type is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon or soft cinnamon. It is lighter in colour, has a more delicate and slightly sweeter flavour, and most importantly, it contains only trace amounts of coumarin. This is the type you want to be using daily. It is a little more expensive than Cassia, but you can find it at health food stores, online, and increasingly at larger grocery chains. Just look for the label that specifically says Ceylon cinnamon. The dose that has been shown to be effective in most studies ranges from half a teaspoon to 1 full teaspoon per day. More than that does not appear to provide additional benefit and could cause digestive upset in some people. So the message is simple. Ceylon cinnamon, half to 1 teaspoon daily, and you are in the sweet spot. How to use it in your daily coffee. So how do you actually incorporate this into your routine? The easiest and most enjoyable way is to add it directly to your morning coffee, and there are a few ways to do this effectively. The simplest method is to stir a half teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon powder directly into your brewed coffee. It blends in beautifully and adds a warm, slightly sweet flavour that many people find actually reduces their need for sugar or artificial sweeteners. That is an added benefit right there. If you use a coffee maker, you can add the cinnamon directly into the coffee grounds before brewing. This allows the hot water to extract the beneficial compounds as it passes through, and the result is a beautifully spiced cup that tastes like something you would pay $5 for at a fancy coffee shop. A third option, if you find the texture a little gritty, is to use a cinnamon stick to stir your coffee. Just leave it in for a few minutes while your coffee is hot, and it will infuse the liquid with the compound you are looking for. The sticks can even be rinsed and reused a few times before they lose their potency. Some people also like to combine their cinnamon coffee with a small amount of coconut oil or grass-fed butter, which some research suggests can further enhance the absorption of fat-soluble compounds. But that is completely optional. The cinnamon alone is powerful enough. What you can realistically expect. I want to be honest with you about expectations here because I believe you deserve straight talk rather than hype. Cinnamon is not a cure for cancer. It is not a magic pill that will melt 30 pounds overnight. It is not going to reverse decades of cellular aging in a week. Anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to sell you something. What it is, based on a growing and genuinely compelling body of research, is one of the most affordable, accessible and powerful nutritional tools available for supporting healthy aging. When used consistently as part of an overall healthy lifestyle that includes regular movement, quality sleep, stress management, and a whole food diet, the evidence suggests it can make a meaningful difference in your metabolic health, your inflammatory markers, your blood sugar regulation, and potentially your body's ability to repair and renew itself at the cellular level. Many people who begin using Ceylon cinnamon daily report noticeable changes within 4 to 6 weeks. More stable energy levels, less of that mid-afternoon crash, reduced bloating, fewer cravings for sugar, looser waistbands, and a general sense of feeling more like themselves again. These are not dramatic, overnight transformations. They are quiet, steady, compounding improvements that show up over time when you are consistent. And that is exactly how real health works. A note on medications and precautions. Before we get to the call to action, I want to take a moment to address something important for anyone watching who is currently on medication, particularly blood thinners like warfarin or diabetes medications. Because cinnamon has a genuine blood sugar lowering effect, if you are taking medications that already lower your blood sugar, adding a significant daily dose of cinnamon could push your levels too low. This is called hypoglycemia, and it can be dangerous. Please talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement regimen, including something as seemingly harmless as cinnamon, especially if you are managing a chronic condition. Cinnamon also has mild blood-thinning properties, so if you are already on anticoagulant therapy, your doctor needs to be in the loop. For most healthy older adults, daily Ceylon cinnamon at the doses we discussed is extremely well tolerated and very safe. But your individual health picture matters, and a brief conversation with your healthcare provider is always worth it. All right, so here is where we land. You now know more about this incredible, humble $1-a-bottle spice than most people ever will. You know why your body changes after 60. You know exactly what Ceylon cinnamon does at the cellular level. You know the critical difference between Ceylon and Cassia. You know how to use it in your morning coffee starting tomorrow. And you know what to realistically expect. Here is my challenge to you. Go to your local grocery store or order online today. Pick up a jar of Ceylon cinnamon. It will cost you about $1 or $2 per month at the dose we talked about. Add it to your coffee every single morning for the next 30 days. Keep a little journal. Nothing fancy, just a few notes each week about how your energy feels, how your cravings are, how your clothes are fitting, and then come back and tell me in the comments what you noticed. This community is full of incredible people who are taking their health seriously and not just accepting that getting older means feeling worse. I would love to hear your experience. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, because it genuinely helps more people find this information. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Every week I bring you the latest, most practical, science-backed strategies for living your healthiest, most energetic life in your senior years. And if you want to go deeper on this topic, I have linked some of the studies we referenced today in the description below so you can read them yourself. I always want you to have access to the original sources, not just my summary. Thank you so much for watching, take care of yourself, drink your cinnamon coffee, and I will see you in the next one.